Oh, we are back. We are back. I'm excited. Hey, 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 y'all. How are y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome back. All of this technology and all of this lagging. But I'm excited to be back. Hey, y'all. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome. Excited to hear tonight's topic. We got like all of this lagging and stuff going on, but we just gonna let technology do what it do, because only technology do what it do best. That's the good part about dealing with all the technology. Hey y'all. Okay, there we go. Now we got it going now. So welcome to the Ladies Lounge podcast. Today we are diving into a powerful, much needed conversation. We're going to talk about balancing work, fatherhood, and self. So the question tonight is, do men get to rest? Joining us in the Ladies Lounge is our special guest. Welcome back, Darius Kelly. I am so excited for this conversation tonight as we unpack the unspoken measures men face while juggling careers, the demands of family responsibility, and also their personal growth. It's time to shine the light on men this month and every month, but especially this month because June is Men's Mental Health Month. We also just celebrated Father's Day. So here in the Ladies Lounge, we are just here to love up on our men. So not just shining a light on the mental health, but also the resting, what's true balance look like for men. So you already know what to do. Grab your seats, lean in, and let's talk about it right here in the Ladies Lounge. And if you are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you have been rocking out with me, welcome back. You know, we do go over some house rules here in the Ladies Lounge. We just ask that you are respectful, ask questions, engage, because the conversation that we're having is not just for us. It only works if you are engaged. We want to hear your feedback. Share some stories, whatever it is that you need to do. If you want to have an outrageous outburst, we do not judge. We listen and we don't judge here in the Ladies Lounge. And y'all already know we have fun, most importantly, here in the Ladies Lounge. But welcome back, Darius. Thank you for accepting the invitation to come back.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself for the people that's watching. He was recently here at the beginning of the year. It was a great topic where he shared about his nonprofit organization, but I'm gonna let him speak on who's Darius Kelly, what you do out here in the community.
Yeah. So my name is Darius Kelly. I'm the founder of the Dwali Foundation. I'm the father of three. Dwali is an acronym for Daddy Will Always Love You. And there's a huge story behind that, how Dwali actually came about. It was some pain, some joy that brought Dwali about. But what I do out here out in the community, as far as the Dwali Foundation goes, is we help single dads. We celebrate fatherhood every day because it needs to be celebrated. But we help single dads, and there's a huge crisis going on when it comes to single dads. And, my aim is to fill that void between what a single dad needs and and that connection with their child. So that's what we do. We do it every day. We do it on a grand scale. We need help to get it done, and we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yes, thank you. Welcome back. And then, just so you know, if you haven't already, go back and watch the episode where Darius first entered in the Ladies Lounge and gave this phenomenal talk on the organization that he has, the foundation. Just like it was very, like just interesting to hear, just to hear the father's story. But like you said, we're gonna tap in a little bit more on that, but definitely go back and watch that episode. I've rewatched it myself, and it is one of my top episodes. But here in the Ladies Lounge, we like to have fun. So I have two icebreaker questions for you. The first question: which TV dad do you relate to the most? Would it be Uncle Phil, Danny Tanner, Carl Winslow, or Dr. Huxtable, or somebody else?
Give me that list one more time.
Okay, so we got Uncle Phil, we have Danny Tanner, Carl Winslow, Dr. Huxtable, or somebody else.
So, um, it would be somebody else actually. And forgive me because I don't know what the dad's name is. I just know the movie.
Okay.
And maybe you can help me on this because you've probably seen it. Um, but it was when the dad's daughter went out of the country for a trip with her friend, and the movie is Taken. The dad on Taken.
It's oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, that's yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my dad right there. So hey, I have a very specific set of skills. Like you, you mess up, and we're gonna have to show you what we're working with. But
There we go. That's
yeah,
what it's all
yeah,
about.
yeah. And the
It
other
was
thing,
actually a good movie too.
oh, it was a great movie. And the other thing about him, he was a single dad. Um,
Right.
so it wasn't your normal family. Um, set up with him. He was trying to see his daughter, and him and his wife had separated or divorced, and he was just trying to make things work. That's kind of the backstory. A lot of people just look at the violent part of it, but there's a backstory to him trying to make it work with his daughter and doing whatever he could to build that relationship.
Yeah. Shout out to Taken. Y'all make sure y'all go watch it. That is an incredible movie.
Yeah, it
So
was
I'm
good.
happy you brought that one up. That was like, yeah, hands down. Sorry, I love my Fresh Prince and Family Matters. Definitely the Cosbys, but yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Okay,
Yeah.
so now a follow-up. We have the next question here. If your life had a theme song right now, what would it be?
Oh man, that's a tough one. A theme song. Heaven by Jamie Foxx.
Oh, okay. Can
Heaven
you
by,
share with us why if you want to?
well,
That,
because
that's a good song too.
it's a beautiful song, and it talks about how, um, and specifically, he was talking about his daughter, but he also sung about children in general, about how God sends our children down to us from heaven,
Right.
and God misses them, like He sends them down here to us to take care of, and God misses them, and we cherish them. And that's what the song is really all about, is how men cherish their children. And is I absolutely love that song because it just
Yeah.
talks, it goes in depth with just a man's love for his child.
It's beautiful. Did you
Yeah,
see his most recent I don't know, I guess like a stand-up or a tell-all
I did.
that he did. What was that on Netflix or something
I think it was.
where he talked about like his youngest daughter going in the room and playing a guitar
Yeah.
and you could just feel the love. I
Uh-huh.
mean, if there was a dry eye watching that, then something wrong with you. Like just to hear how he said his daughters saved his life
Saved his
and the
life.
compassion that he had, it just, you could just hear it in his voice. It was like, man, that
Yeah.
was just amazing.
Yeah, and I relate to that a lot because I feel like my oldest daughter saved my life. Because when she was born, um, it was after the tragedy of losing my child at 2.5 months old. And then six years later, she's born and I'm scared to death. Like,
Right.
I don't want that to ever happen to me again. And I'm private eye, like, and a lot of dads probably can relate to this when your child's in the crib and you're looking at them and trying to make sure that they're breathing. You want to
Yes,
see the
rising and
chest
falling.
moving. You like, yeah, right. You're going straight ninja mode on the crib, like, okay, let me see, make sure that. So
Right.
I did a lot of that, with my oldest daughter, and she gave me purpose again after that tragic event, happened, with my
Wow.
son. And so it really did save my life in a lot of ways. Not necessarily the way it saved his life, because he was obviously laying up in a hospital bed, but from a
Right.
mental and emotional perspective, it was very empowering for me, and it helped me to get through a lot of things I was struggling with.
Yeah, it's just it's so beautiful. And as you were saying, like with the chest rising and falling, what came to mind was like my dad, he had this thing where instead of him just standing there watching to see if me or my sister, I guess if our chest is rising and falling, he would just be like, and then like just scare me out my sleep.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now I get it, but my goodness, you ain't have to scare me like that, sir. But it's just, I tell you, it's nothing like a father's love. And because we want to shine the light so much here in the ladies lounge on our men, tonight's topic is about men getting their rest, fathers getting their rest. And just, and when we say that word rest, like let me just let's not get too technical, like resting, and you don't we just take time out for yourself. So my first question is, Darius, how do you define balance in your life as a man, a father, a professional?
Yeah, this is an interesting question because you hear a lot of things about, you got to go hard. If you want to make something happen, sleep is secondary. You just got to keep grinding, 10, 12 hours a day. And sometimes that might be necessary. But for me, how I define balance is you got 24 hours in a day. And I try to break those 24 hours up into three equal parts. You got 8 hours for God and family. And when I say family, I'm talking about your brothers and sisters, your brothers and sisters from another mother, whatever family you have, whatever extended family you have, your kids, you 8 hours for God and family. And then 8 hours for your usual vocations. You got to go to work. You gotta take care of your family, have some kind of steady stream of income to make sure you're taking care of your family. And then 8 hours for refreshments and rest, sleep. So that's the foundation of balance for me. Now, I reserve the right to pull from certain sections of that if necessary. Sometimes it may take longer for me to spend time with God and family because I may have a crisis going on somewhere on one side of my family, or I may have a crisis with a dad that needs help. So anything can happen where you may have to pull from different areas of those 8 hours, 8 hour segments. But you at least have to start with a foundation, and that's just how I view it from a balanced perspective.
Good. I like how you broke that down into three parts. I'm sitting here like I need to do better. I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to take some nuggets that's dropped tonight, because that is a thing. Like I hear a lot of men saying that, like I'll sleep when I'm unalive. And it's just like, wait a minute, but you're missing out. In my opinion, I do believe that you're missing out on so much, which is a part of you taking care of you. Because again, like we all understand, if I'm no good, then how can I show up for my family or for my job or even for myself, most importantly? So I love that you broke that down into three equal parts. And it doesn't seem so overwhelming when we look at it from the stance of it's 24 hours in a day, and you're like, okay, well, 8 hours of that is for your professional side, and then like what do you do with the rest of the time at that point? So I love how you broke that down. Um, and just with today, like just with the world that we live in and with the cultural expectations, you don't hear a lot of men actually taking the time out to even, I guess, like do the self-care, because that's essentially what we're saying too, as a part of like the rest. So like, how do you not let the cultural expectations and versus your reality, how do you not let that get in the way of your time?
Yeah, you gotta have some you have to know yourself. Because you have to a lot of ways you have to create your own culture and make that your reality, just the way I broke down the day into 24 hours into eight equal parts. Like some people may say that's impossible. Well, it's possible if you decide to do it that way. It's possible, knowing that you may have to pull from certain sections of it. So it's just a matter of creating your own culture for your family, and it varies family to family. People are in different situations. Some people are not able to do certain things that other people are. But you have to at least sit down and have a plan for your family and follow that plan so that you can get what you need to be the best version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, if a man is not the best version of himself, he's not going to be able to provide for his family the way that he needs to. And that ties into the whole mental health conversation. Like you got to
Right.
be the best version of yourself. And sometimes sacrifices have to be made, and your value system has to
Right.
be rock solid. Like, what do you value most? Okay, so if that's what you value, then you got to make sure it ties in with your overall goal for your family.
Right, absolutely. That is so important. And just like with your experience, because you do work with a lot of men, like you just come in contact with a lot of men. So my question is, why do many men, why don't they talk about their exhaustion? Is it that it just in our culture, because that's all I know, honestly, is just my culture. And I hear like a lot of men, even as women, we grew up like you just don't let them see you sweat. Is it
Right.
coming from that type of background, or just like why in general men don't talk about it?
Well, and I deal with men from various backgrounds and cultures because the crisis that I'm dealing with is not a black, white, yellow, brown thing. It's not a rich or poor thing. It is a man thing. It's a fatherhood thing, and that crisis exists in every culture. But as far as talking about your exhaustion, a lot of men don't talk about their exhaustion because they don't have anybody to talk to about it. And when I say that, I had a recent conversation where um, a young lady asked me, because I got a group of men that I can depend on. And we talk, we laugh together, we cry together, we talk about business, we talk about relationships. And I think that's very important for a man to have those things. And so I was having that conversation with a young lady, and she said, well, and she happened to be the significant other of one of my male counterparts that we hang out. And she said, does he talk when he's with y'all? I said, hell yeah, he talk. What do you mean? Hell yeah, he talk. We talk all the time. And then she said, well, he doesn't talk at home. And so a lot of men don't talk at home because when they say things to their significant other, the way it's received is negative,
Mm.
or it's used as ammunition in a future conversation. So eventually, as a man continues to get that type of response, he's going to stop talking. And if he doesn't have a group of men like I do that to share those things with, then he's going to eventually shut down altogether because you got to get that out. Like a man,
Right.
I'm talking to my brothers. You got to find some brothers you can talk to get that out, have those conversations. And I run into men all the time that say, "Man, I just don't have nobody to talk to."
Mm.
Married men, like men in relationships.
Wow.
Yeah, I just don't have nobody to talk to. So that means you're spending the majority of the time with women and children. You're having conversations the majority of your time with women and children. And that's just not a healthy, that's not a healthy thing to do for the success of the man to be the best version of himself.
Wow. So fellas, y'all hear it. Y'all do need to get out and talk. And I would love to see, I say this all the time. I would love to see more group of men, like the brotherhood, come together. Not to say that it's not out there, because I don't know, but I would just like to see more of it, because I do get to hear about how a lot of men don't know where to go, don't have nobody to talk to. And I could just only imagine how isolated or lonely or whatever the feeling is that comes out of it. I can only imagine what that is like, because like you said, it's only so much you can like a man is going to share with his partner, and definitely with his children. So I, as always, I am an advocate for my men to get out and talk, create that bond, create the brotherhood. However, that look, leave the egos out the door, because I heard a lot of men too don't want to, start the brotherhood because of the egos, but let's leave it at the door because I just believe that we all need each other, and we all know us as women, we're gonna talk. With that's just what we do.
Right.
But sometimes hearing and sometimes I've learned to like just be quiet a lot more and listen. And when I'm listening, I'm hearing just the cry for help from men. Like, and they do want to talk. At least the men that I am encountering, they do want to talk. They need to talk. They need the therapist. They need us to tell them that they need to talk,
Right.
sometimes, and not just always like attacking, or even us, as women, when these men are being vulnerable, like, just help guide them to where to just give them that confidence to say, go hang out with your friends, go do your thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold it down.
Yeah, no doubt. And we hold each other accountable. If you're
Right.
wrong, we're gonna tell you you're wrong. We're gonna be honest with you. We ain't gonna tell you what you want to hear. I don't know if you saw my video, my Father's Day video. It was a group of guys. We shot a Father's Day video.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that, but those are not just some random dudes that I was hanging
Mm.
out with. Like them
Right.
guys have seen me cry. They've seen me go through
Wow.
some hellified situations. They seen
Right.
me hurt. They seen me happy. They seen me grow. So these are guys that, I know that if something were to ever happen to me, that these are guys I know will take care of my family. So I think every man needs that kind of support system.
Yeah, and definitely check out the video. I did share it on the Ladies Lounge Instagram page. It was definitely one that I was like, oh, we need to shine more light on this, just to have the men come together and just do what they do best. And now, so let's tap in a little bit about this fatherhood expectations versus reality. How has fatherhood reshaped your priorities and your personal time?
Oh, it reshaped my entire value system. Um,
Mm.
but for me, I had children late in life, um, compared to the average man. I was my daughter's about to be 15, um, now, so it was, and I'll be 53 this year. So I had kids later in life, and for me, it's been easy. Like being a dad, like the whole process, because I was already into my career. So it's been a pretty easy process for me. Um, but at the end of the day, we have to really lock in, reshape our value system, decide what's important to us, and decide what kind of life we want to build for our families and our children. And I mean, the love that you feel when you have a child, and the men know what I'm talking about, the fathers know what I'm talking about. It's something that you never thought you would ever experience. It's why I love the song Heaven by Jamie Foxx. It's like it brings something out of you. I don't know if you saw, I posted a video today where I was interviewing a gentleman at Juneteenth, and he was talking about, he had twins. His first experience
Mhm.
with fatherhood was twins. Um, and how much anxiety he felt when it came to that.
Mm.
And a lot of people don't know this. 10% of fathers experience postpartum depression. That's 1 out of 10. So you do the math on how many fathers, how many babies are born.
Right.
And so 10% of men experience postpartum depression. What do you think they do about that? Well, they don't even know that they're going through it. They just think it's a normal thing. 5 to 15% of men experience perinatal anxiety. And perinatal anxiety is basically the anxiety a man feels from the time the child is in the womb up to a year after, that
Oh,
anxiety that they feel. So, um, and it's normal, but you have to be aware of it because we feel a strong sense of, man, I gotta provide, I gotta protect. That's what we gotta do. We gotta provide, we gotta protect. And so how are we gonna do that? And if we don't have the means to do that, that multiplies that anxiety by 10, 20, 100 times. So and I probably got off for your question a little bit, but
No.
I just think it's important to really sit down and decide, okay, what is my value system now? It's
Right.
not it's not what I used to do because I got to think about something other than just myself now. I can't
Right.
buy all the shoes and I can't buy a two-door sports car. I got to put a
Right.
baby seat in the back.
Right.
You
Right.
just got to, your value system changes. And if you look at it as the blessing it is, you won't mind that one bit. Like you won't mind making that change. Like I don't even think about some of the things I used to think about before I had kids. I got a motorcycle
Hmm.
that I haven't ridden the things in years. Like I think once my children were born, I was like, yeah, I better stay off of that thing. And
Please.
that was just me. I was like, I got to
Yeah.
be here for them. Like I can't afford
Right.
for mistakes to happen out there on the motorcycle. So it's just one of those things where you just got to really evaluate yourself and adjust your value system.
Right. And I love that you said that because you kind of actually went into my next question that I had for you as far as like you said you reshaped the whole value um system for yourself. And I know that some men also experience like that guilt when you're saying like you reshaping everything. I know some men have that guilt of missing moments, like that home versus chasing the career and the success. Because I can only imagine with you as the man who's the leader, the provider, the protector, and when you look at the career choices and like the dollar signs that come behind it, but then it'll take you away from being at home. Um, like what experience do you have of men that who even have that guilt alone, when it comes to like just that area of life?
Yeah, so there's a lot of justifying that goes on in that arena. Like you justify the absence with trying to build a life, for your children, for trying to make sure you have something to leave them, when your time comes to leave this earth. So you kind of justify it. Some of it is necessary. And I'll tell you a personal story for me. Um, when my second child was born, my son, he's 9 years old. Um, I had it planned out. I was into my career. My career required me to travel a lot. But I had it planned out. I said, okay, I'm not going to travel during this window because at any moment during this window, my son could be born and I don't want to miss it.
Right.
So I had it, I had it all planned, but it wasn't God, it wasn't God's plan. It was my plan. So here I
Mhm.
am in New Orleans working, and I get a call. I got to go to the hospital. I think it's time. And I couldn't get home fast enough to be there for the actual birth of my son. And it bothers me still to this day that I missed it.
Mhm.
Although I was actually doing, that 8 hours, I was doing that the usual vocations. I had to go to work. I had to, provide for my family. Um, so you do experience that guilt, and it's different for different people, but it's okay in certain regards. You got to capture. You got to be there for most things. You're gonna miss some things as a man, and you got to be okay with missing some things. But for the most part, you need to try to make sure you're there,
Right.
supporting, cheering your kids on for the things that they do, and not feel guilty if you're there for. I'm gonna share something. I had a conversation with my daughter last night, my oldest daughter, and she's about to be 15. So our
Wow.
conversations have changed.
Yep.
And so I'm still learning how to have these conversations with my teenage daughter, and it's actually kind of fun when I think about it. But I talked about how there's always more good days than bad days.
Right.
And that's the same approach you have to take when you miss some of those things that your children are doing because you have to take care of business at work.
Right.
You gotta just make sure that those good days, those times where you're present, far outweigh those times when you're not. And don't
Mm.
feel guilty about the times when you're not, because that's going to happen if you're out there taking care of business.
I love it. Because like I said, I can only imagine when we have to make those decisions as adults. And when you talk about the missing moments and stuff like that, we do beat ourselves up, because we are making that sacrifice and we think that we try to plan it. And like you said, we try to plan it on our time. And God is like, God is laughing like, oh, you think you got some plans, watch this.
Right.
But but I just love that you said that, like, just don't have that guilt, even though it's easier said than done.
Mhm.
Because I have my moments even as a mother, just missing a lot of my own son's life just from making adult decisions and things of that nature. But definitely, thank you for that response. Now, we talked about it briefly about just how fathers have so much, just as a man, period. Y'all just have so much weight on your shoulders of just trying to be everything to everyone. What does that weight feel like, and how do you release it?
So it kind of ties into the weight of the title, right? I have a podcast that it's going to be coming out very soon. It's called The Weight of the Title: Raw Stories from Real Dads. And I got some stories that I got for the people out there, but um, it's heavy. Like, I have three kids. I have my significant other. I have I'm not supposed to have two dogs. My
Mhm.
kids are supposed to have two dogs.
But
And there's a cat, that walks around the house. So the reason I'm adding all these things in is because almost all of these things, all these people and animals are looking for me. They're all looking for me. And they all need something from me. So I can't tell you how many times my name is called in a day or how many times dad is said in a day. And it is heavy, but you have to embrace it. So,
right.
so being a man, right? Being a man, being a father. Let's say you're going to a car dealership and you're
Mhm.
going to buy a car, but not just any car. You're going to buy a Bugatti.
Okay.
Okay. So you walk into the Bugatti dealership. I've never been in one. I guess they have
Me
dealerships.
neither.
But let's just, for the sake of the conversation, let's say you walk into the Bugatti dealership and you say, "How much is that one?" And they
Mhm.
give you a price.
Okay.
And you say, "Well, will you take this for it?" No, it's a Bugatti. The price is the
The
price.
price. Right.
Same thing with fatherhood.
Mhm.
The price is the price. That's just what it costs. So once you go into that arena, let's not try to negotiate and make it something else. The
Mhm.
price to be a father is the price. Whether you're a single dad, whether you have a complete family unit, whether you have shared custody, whatever it is that your situation is as a dad, whatever it costs is what it costs. So you gotta embrace that and try to figure out how you're going to proceed in life based on what that price is.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I like that. I'm gonna be walking on around here like I'm gonna listen now. Bugatti, you know, the price is the price. But that is so, like, I just, that is so true. That's another way, another perspective to look at it. Like, That's what it costs to be, a father. Like, wow, I'm telling y'all, I'm learning so much here. And we get deep in the ladies' lounge. Like, was there ever a moment throughout your journey of just like the fatherhood of just being a man where you felt like you were losing yourself in it all? Because how do you know who you are, and because we grow. Like, I know for me, I had my son at 20, so I practically grew up with my son. I'm 37, my son is 17,
Mm.
so it's like we grew up together in a sense, you know what I'm saying? But like, for fathers, did you lose yourself? Do you lose yourself? Like, how does that look for you all?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You lose yourself. Hell yeah. You lose yourself. But you got to be aware of it because you can't afford to lose yourself. It happens, and it happens before you realize it. And it kind of goes back to having um, those other men in your life to talk to and share things with and bounce things off of, right? Because what
Right.
happens is you're trying to provide and you're trying to protect and you're trying to spread your love depending on how many kids you have and even your significant other. The significant others are the ones that the most pressure will come from. Um,
Mhm.
most of the time, not all the time. Just in my experience and in my conversations with people, that's what it's been. So I don't want to make it sound like it's all the time. But you're gonna have those those times when you feel like, damn man, I just don't feel good. I don't feel like myself. I can't sleep. Um,
Mhm.
not eating right. And it happens before you realize that it's happening. So don't awareness is the first thing that needs to happen. You need to be aware of what's happening. And I always tell my friends, okay, be a man first, whatever the situation is. Let's talk about it. But we're gonna talk about it as men. We're gonna be men
Mhm.
first. Um,
Right.
and this is the ladies' lounge, so I want to send a message to the ladies as we're talking about this.
Please. Absolutely.
Yeah, let your man be a man.
Mm.
Let your man be a man. A lot of times, the pressure comes from wanting to do things like a man wants to do things, and his significant other is
Mhm.
is giving him problems with doing what he wants to do. And I'm not talking about running the streets. I'm not talking about like seeing a bunch of other women. I'm talking about a simple, hey, my boy just called. He wanted to go get a drink. I want to go out and get a drink with him. We're gonna hang out for a minute. So don't give him a hard time about that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Let have that moment so he can have that balance that we discussed earlier. He can have that release. I promise you, he'll be a better man for you because of it. He'll come home in a much better headspace because of it. So to the men out there, you have to put yourself in a position to where you can be a man first. You can have your space to do the things that you want to do, whatever hobbies you have. If you want to go hoop, if you want to go to the gym and work out, if you want to hang out with your fellas, a couple of times a week. Now you can't be excessive with it.
Right.
You
Right.
still have responsibilities with your children, and your significant other needs your attention as well, and your dogs and your cats, they all need you. So you can't be excessive with it, but you got to have a balance. Um, and I actually I remember when I said to myself, "Damn, this ain't really me.
Mm.
What's happening? What's happening to me?" Like I remember having that
Right.
conversation with myself. And then I remember talking to my friends about it.
Right.
And that's the day I decided, you know what? I'm gonna do me. Because if I don't do me, I'm not gonna be the best version of myself for my family. And there
Right.
was no reason not to let me do me. It wasn't like I was trying to, go to, travel the world and not be here for my family. It's just certain little things that I knew was a part of my foundation Know what your foundation is, because once they start chipping away at your foundation, that's when you start really feeling the anxiety, and you're like, hold on, like, I used to be like this, or this is how I would like to be, but I'm not allowed to do that anymore. You got to allow yourself to do those things.
Listen, so it's a lot of nuggets being dropped up in here. You don't want to make sure you miss these moments. But it's so this is just like conversations that we really don't have, like just that real raw and uncut conversation. Because how often do we even acknowledge that we are losing ourselves and we may not even know it, you know? And I think it is so important to just take a pause for a minute, you know, because when you stop realizing like what is it? What is it do I really like? Because you are catering so much. You know, I said it in the last episode. I asked the question of just like for men, how is it that when you are on vacation, like are you really, you know, on vacation? Because you're still that provider, you're still that protector, you know, you just still in that mode that you're in for your family. So it's like then it was just after that episode and I asked the question, that's why I was like, well, do men really rest? How do you know, because I know as a single woman, it's hard for me to sleep at night because I am my own protector and my provider, you know, and stuff. So I don't get that good night rest like I want to, but I know having a man around could provide that, you know, I could sleep better because then now I'll just let you go ahead and stress over the, you know, that that part of being that protector. But it was just like genuinely, when do you all get to rest? You guys do, as men, just do so much that we don't even get to shine the light on. Or sometimes us as women and children, we're selfish in our own ways, not intentionally, I don't believe, but you may come home from work and I may need you to, you know, hang up a picture. Then the kids is like you said, the kids are calling you like, come play tea party, or, you know, I want to talk about my experience at school. Then you got the dog, like, I need to go out too. So, you know, it's possible because then when you come home, you got to take off your hat of your career hat, right? And turn on the daddy, the spouse hat. And then when you leave out the next day, you got to put put that down and put on another one. So it's just so much that you all do. And it's not to take away from the ladies either, but I don't believe that we shine the light enough on the men to just say like thank you, just you know, thank you for all that you all do out here in this world because it is not easy, you know. And I think too, for me being a boy mom, I can appreciate men a lot more because now I'm looking at it like, man, my son about to be out here and probably, you know, going to have this same conversation, you know, later on down the line, or and it's some stuff that we have conversations about now that I'm just like, golly, you going through that already at, you know, at 17 years old. So, you know, hopefully these conversations does register so we could just bridge that gap. Just so you don't feel like you're alone in that whole thing of realizing like you're losing yourself. And long as you know you not lost, it's okay. We've all been through it of losing myself, but just gain gain control of it because you know you got it. And so what does it look like? Because we talk about, I just mentioned about as for my fellas, you go out here in the world and you go into your career mode, and then you got to come back home and you got to be at home mode. How do you stay emotionally connected to home with like taking off these different capes?
Yeah, so it's the reason behind, this hat that I have on. It says Super Dad at the top. Um,
I
and
love
so,
it.
yeah, you can get yours at dwally.com. We got these Super Dad hats, and um, if you have a dad in your life that has been able to balance it all, then he needs one of these Super Dad hats. Um,
Mhm.
so I mean, to answer your question, you it's not easy. You have to, and I'll reference, what I was saying earlier about knowing yourself, knowing your value system, understanding what you're trying to accomplish in life and what you're trying to accomplish with your family, and making sure you value your time. um, and you're using your time productively and wisely and having a plan for your time. And again, I mean, I'm making this sound easy and it's not. Um, I have to pull from different sections of my life all the time to make sure that, another part of my life is in balance. And sometimes it takes more time. If you're trying to build a business or if you're traveling for work or you're going to have these things happen. But if you have a good foundation, if you have a good value system, if you know where you're trying to go, it just makes it easier for you to accomplish some of these things and handle the stress that comes along with it. And I think I embrace it. Like embrace what it is. Like I have learned to embrace the challenges, the cost of being a father, the cost of having to provide, the cost of having to protect. I've learned to embrace that. And now that I'm embracing it, I can have a little bit of fun with it because I know what I got to do. I know what I got to do. All I need is to make sure that I follow the plan that I have in place and I understand where to make adjustments. Like I said, I'm learning to be the father of a teenager now. Like it's always something new. Like I've never
Right.
been, the father of a teenager, and a teenage daughter at that. My son's about to turn 10. It's my first time having a 10-year-old son. So it's always something new and exciting. And just know that that's going to happen and embrace it. Learn as much as you can about how their mind works. Have conversations with them. And I'll tell you one of the things that I think that I haven't done a good job at with my oldest daughter, and um, I'm learning that I have to approach it differently. Because we always look at our little girls as our little girl. That's my
Right.
baby. That's
Right.
come over here, give your daddy a hug. And
Right.
you don't realize that now that they're a teenager, you need to start having some conversations that are a little bit different. It's not they don't want to play with dolls anymore. They don't want to
Right.
some of the
Right.
things that they wanted to do. So you have to really just change your perspective. And it's an ever evolving process when it comes to your kids. And if you embrace that, you can have some fun with it and actually have some pretty interesting conversations with your kids.
Absolutely. I love that. And when you mentioned about the whole thing of like, daddy's princess and baby, like even up until my dad passed away 5 years ago. So me and my sister, it was like princess, baby, I'm so proud of you. And we're like in our 20s and 30s. So that is something that you do carry along the way. And it is something that I talked about daddy's little girl in the previous episode as well of how much that truly means to us. Now, when we talk about just how everything that's going on in the world and just men personally, what are some best practices or boundaries that have helped you protect your peace?
Oh, best practices. I'll tell you the most important thing that I've done and that I continue to do that helps to protect my peace and helps me to uh, keep myself circumscribed in the direction that I want to go as a father, as a man, is I put the children first. And what I mean by that is not in this in every sense of the word, because sometimes I have to make sure that I have the balance and take care of me because I can't be the best version of me if I don't take care of myself. But what I mean by that is when I make decisions or when it comes to a conversation with their mothers, because my oldest daughter is from a different relationship. I want to make the decisions. I want to have the conversations that provide the best outcome for the kids.
Right.
And that kind of takes the emotion out of it for me. It's like, okay, let's not have an emotional conversation about it. What's best for the kids?
Right.
And when you put it in that perspective, it at least provides you a foundation of the conversation and the direction that things need to go post conversation. So that's one of the biggest things that I've done. The other thing kind of falls back to the things that we previously discussed is just making sure that you have a good support system to talk things through if you need to. Make sure that, you understand what your value system is and what you're trying to accomplish. And spending time, try to spend quality time with your kids. And that sometimes can be hard as a man because I don't really want to play with dolls. My youngest daughter she's 5 and she got me a Ken doll because she wanted to make sure that when we played dolls, I had a doll to play with. But that's important. Like
Right.
I have to embrace that as much as I don't care to play with dolls. I have to embrace it, and I have to embrace it because I got to make sure that I'm playing for real. Like I'm playing dolls for real. I got to check out
Right.
of everything else, and I got to play this with this Ken doll. Um, but embrace it because in the blink of an eye, they'll be 15, and they're not gonna want to play with dolls with you anymore. They're gonna want
Right.
to do something that doesn't involve you. Um, so yeah, I just have to embrace the moments when they come and recognize the moments when they come and make sure that you're making the decisions that are best for the kids at that moment in time. So there's no manual to it. There's going to be
Right.
situations that you have no idea, how to handle it, and you're going to have to kind of figure your way through it. But at least have some foundational values to lean on and then bounce off of those things.
I love that. That is so, so true. And listen, I feel you on the I don't have to sit and play with Barbie dolls, but your girl don't want to be out there bouncing no basketball or
Right.
throwing no football. But I'm
Right.
gonna do what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right. Right.
it's like you said, it's just really in creating the memories in that time. Because I remember when my dad used to play with Barbies with me. And so it's just certain things that you don't forget and you don't, you just take with you, and that's when it's gonna matter. It may, while we going through that, I don't want to call it the storm, but just when we're going through that space where, you may have lost yourself because you're giving yourself your all. Or I see dads on TikTok, shout out to the dads and the fathers who don't want to play dress up, for the tea party, but y'all got on the tutus and the and sipping the tea. Like, shout out to the dads that are really out here creating the good vibes and the memories, for your kid, because that is, I just love to see fathers with their children. It just does something to me. Or I just love to see, for the men who don't even have kids and they just still want to listen in on this conversation because it is for you as well. But I just love men to see men do self-care work. Like,
Mhm.
I think that I'm gonna speak for the women on this one. I don't need nobody to back me up. Women, we love to see the men. It's a turn on to see a man handling his self-care, grooming himself. Like, that is so amazing to see. So what are some self-care things that you do for yourself?
Yeah. So, I'm pretty simple. I'm pretty simple. I like to go to the gym um, because I just want to make sure that I'm maintaining a certain level of health, making sure that I keep my heart strong, making sure I keep, you know, my lean muscle strong because I got young kids and I want to make sure I can go out there and bounce that basketball or throw that football or, you know, run around and chase and do
Right.
all these things. So it motivates me to take care of myself in that regard. The other thing is, and I'm blessed to be in a relationship that I don't get a hard time with hanging out with the guys that I care about, the guys that I can
Right.
bounce things off of, the guys that I can have grown up men conversations with. Um, and even like we did a men's trip. We got on a
Oh
cruise,
wow.
just me and some of the guys. It was about six or seven.
Yeah.
We went on a cruise. We went over to Bimini. We hung out in Bimini and just talked about, I promise you, we were on Carnival.
Hmm.
We went to breakfast and we sat, you know how those cruises are set up, you know, they got the buffets. So we sat in there, we had breakfast. We were still sitting in there talking as they were breaking breakfast down. We were still sitting in there talking as they were putting the next meals up. And we
Oh
ate together.
wow.
So it's just one of those things where, you know, we talked for about 12 hours straight, um, just about man stuff,
Right.
you know, just about goals and what we want to accomplish, you know, and how can we accomplish them together? How can we pool our resources? You know,
Yeah.
how can we make good men better?
Right.
You know, how can we do these things, you know, and make our communities better, you know, give back to our communities. Those types of conversations that are had amongst men is how things get done. And it's not to say you can't have those conversations with your significant others, but it's just different. It's a different vibe. It's a different approach. You can get things done with your significant other as well. I'm not saying you can't, but you got to have both. You got to
Yeah.
have both if you really want to be the best version of yourself. So um, I don't even remember what your question was, but hopefully I answered
It's
it.
okay. You did answer it. Like, what does the self-care
Yeah.
it looks like for you? And I love that you said about just the guys getting together. And shout out to your significant other for um being an example that, you know, us as women, we do need to see and hear about as far as letting a man be a man. Because when we do hear that often, I've seen some women take it another route, you know, like, oh, he just want to go out here and he just want to run the streets. And it's like, no, it's a healthy let a man be a man, let a man be with amongst other men to bounce ideas off of, or like you just said, just talk about whatever it is that ain't got nothing to do with you know, the women or the kids. We don't want to talk about no dogs on this cruise. We're not here for none of it. And I love that, you know, you all have created that space to just be, because that's what it sounds like. You just want to be, you know, just be a man.
Right.
That's it. So, you know, thank you for sharing that. And this is, I always say this is the part of the conversation that I just hate to say, that we are coming up on the end of tonight's show. But as always, before we leave, Darius, do you have any powerful affirmations or message to our men out here who are feeling overwhelmed, our fathers who are just like, man, I don't even know the last time I even took a nap, let alone slept for 8 hours. You know, what powerful message do you want to leave with them?
Yeah, so I would just say have a plan for your days, your weeks, your years, your hours. Have a plan. Um, Make sure that you give yourself time to do some of the things that you enjoy in life. We only get this one life to live, you know, whatever your religious beliefs are, at some point, the body that you're existing in right now will no longer exist. So make sure that you're taking the time out to do things that make you the best version of yourself. Talk to your children. Make sure you're having um, productive conversations with your
Right,
children. Like, really, really talk to them. They understand a lot more than what you think they understand. They're watching you. Make sure you're setting good examples for them
right,
as your children are watching. Um, do something for somebody other than yourself. Find a way to do something for somebody other than yourself, whoever that might be. I'm just passionate about dads because after losing a child and after feeling the passion of childbirth and then seeing dads with their sometimes I just see dads walking around and playing with their kids and it almost brings tears to my eyes, tears of joy to my eyes to see it. But then other dads out there they have children, but they don't have that experience. And it's
Right.
not because they don't want the experience, it's because they don't have the resources to do what they need to do, or they don't have the knowledge, or they don't have the funds to get an attorney. And that's what the Dwally Foundation is all about, is to close that gap. Like, why I'm out here enjoying being a father with my children.
Right.
There's a crisis going on with other men that want to be in that same position. I'm not talking about men that don't want to be in their children's lives. I'm talking about men that really desire to do it. And for whatever
Wow.
reason, they've given up the fight,
Hmm.
or they don't know what to do. And so that is the gap that we have to try to fill. And I need all the men's, all the dads out there, all the men out there that have their stuff together. That's who I'm talking to, because
Right.
I need help from y'all. Like,
Right.
I understand it's a lot of people say, "Well, I'm good. Like, I got my kids. I'm about, yeah, I know you're good, but how about doing something for somebody that's not good?
Right.
How about
Right.
how about doing something for some of these men that are emailing me saying, "Hey, I can't afford an attorney. She won't let me see my kids. She won't let you see your kids. We
Right.
can guess what? If you're good, that's okay. If you're good, your kid is going to school with a kid that doesn't have their father.
Right. Right.
So that is an impact on your kid as well. So let's help as many dads as we can. I always say if it's just one dad at a time, it's going to change his life. It's going to change the child's life, because kids need their fathers. So sorry if I got long-winded on that, but I just
No, that's perfect.
yeah, I want us to lock in on this, man. I want us to
Absolutely.
really help these fathers, and go to dwallyfoundation.org. If you're a dad out there and you're listening to this and you don't have any rights to your kids for whatever reason, please go to dwallyfoundation.org. There's a form on there you can fill out. I'm gonna try to help you the best way that I can. But it costs to help people. Attorneys are expensive. I know from experience, if you want a good attorney to help you through this process, you're gonna have to pay a little bit of money, but some people don't have the resources to do that. So I'll just leave it right there.
And thank you so much for sharing that. And I do believe to your point of what I heard you say is it takes a village. And we keep it real here in the ladies lounge. We're quick to go ahead and we're quick to donate to a GoFundMe to bury someone, but we have people that are alive that we can definitely help. And like you said, it does cost. Attorneys do cost. And even on the other end of the scale, your time doesn't cost. Like you said, kids do go to school and kids come home and ask questions like, hey, my friend doesn't have their daddy in their life, and they were, they're missing out. They don't get to experience this and that. And I know that breaks my heart when I do hear about kids that go through that experience. But I love that you took the conversation to that point, because we pick and choose what we want to help with, donate to. I know people who I just have to take it here because we just keep it real. I know people who will just donate just over the phone. Y'all watch these, and no shade to my people who love animals, but y'all watch these commercials at 2 o'clock in the morning saving a dog for 5 cents a day. And it's nothing wrong with that. But you have fathers out here who want to step up. Like you said, they have the desire to be in that child's lives. And I'm gonna say this again. I said it on last episode. Mothers, stop playing your kid as a pawn when it comes to these men, because the only person that you're hurting is the children. It's not. I mean, ultimately, we as the adults, we do get hurt in it, but it really is about the kid. Take the emotions off the table and make it about the children. Put the dads back in the kid's life. Fortunately, I grew up with my dad, so I know it was like what it was like to have a father in my life. But I also sat with people who don't even know who their dad is, and I can only imagine. So Darius was so kind to drop the nuggets, and he has a podcast that's coming out. I'm so excited to
Mhm.
tune in to that as well. And I do believe that you have an event coming up as well.
Yeah, I do have an event August 9th. It's called the Fatherhood Fiesta. It's in Ormond Beach, Florida. It's at the Casements. You can find all the information on dwallyfoundation.org. And we're just gonna celebrate fatherhood, y'all. It's like it's one of those things where we're just gonna celebrate it. It's right before the kids go back to school. We're gonna have games out there for the kids. We're gonna have a petting zoo. We're gonna have music. We're just gonna do a little bit of celebration. I love for all the dads to come out, bring your kids out, have a good time with your kids. And we'll bring attention to single fathers, helping single fathers. But just know that this is a celebration of fatherhood. And I would love for everybody to come out and join us. It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Casements in Ormond Beach, Florida.
There you have it. Like, I just love this. This is like taking it back to just back in the day, just like good, clean, fun outdoors. The kids can just, enjoy each other's while the fathers bond together. So y'all heard it here. Make sure you definitely tune in and tap into Darius podcast. Make sure you fathers, the men out there, just this sounds like an amazing event and it sounds like you want to be there. Just get some networking going on, and just some fellowship because that's what we need in our community. And men, I just want to leave you with this. It is okay to rest. Your worth is not your productivity. It is in your presence. Okay. Check in with yourself. Pause and check in with yourself. Make rest a part of the routine and know that it is okay to ask for help. That is a wrap, y'all, on today's episode here in the Ladies Lounge podcast. We hope this conversation sparks some reflection and open up a space for grace, especially for the men balancing so much behind the scene. Again, we wanted to shine the light here in the Ladies Lounge on our men. We love the men here in the Ladies Lounge. Okay, let me tell you, once I open up that door for my men, y'all have been showing up and showing out, and frequent flyers have been coming in. So there is thank you so much for just coming back. I'm so excited for your podcast, and I definitely will be tuning in. Just a huge thank you for just keeping it real and reminding us all that rest is necessary. It's not optional, right? And if this episode tonight really did touch you, definitely let us know. Leave a comment. Darius has shared his information if you want to drop it again of where people can connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. dwallyfoundation.org. You can go there or you can go to dwally.com or on social platforms. You can go to @Dwally Movement and you'll find all the information you need to contact me. And I would love to hear from y'all. So peace and love to everybody.
All right, you heard it here. And join us next time in the Ladies Lounge where we have real conversations live and where the healing begins. Until next time, take care of your mind, your heart, and your peace. Remember, in this space, we don't shrink, we shine, we don't compete, we connect, and we don't just talk, we grow. This is the Ladies Lounge where everyone have a voice and a story has a power, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And also, too, I just wanted to let y'all know tomorrow, June 26th, is the Ladies Lounge 1 year anniversary. I am so excited. A full year, just like I didn't even know just from the beginning that I would be here a whole year later. So thank you to each and every one of you who believed in me, who listened, those who pour into me, because your girl gonna keep it real. It's been some days I'm over here like, I don't know about it. If I'm gonna keep going, but here I am a whole year later, and I'm excited for the next year. And thank you all so much. Just the people that I have connected with and I met just through this podcast. I know I am walking in my purpose and I am in the right space, because I get to sit and meet beautiful people like Darius, who is out here in the community, just definitely doing what needs to be done. So, as I always say, this is the Ladies Lounge where we do need to have these conversations because, y'all, we got the resources right here in our community. We actually have people that are out here doing the work. So, just tap in. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Ladies Lounge podcast here on YouTube each and every Wednesday. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share out tonight's episode with the men in your life, whether it is your spouse, whether it's your uncle, your cousin, your brother, a friend, whoever you know. Let's get the word out. Let's get these people in Armand Beach on August 9th, from 11 to 3. Let's build. God, I'm just I'm overwhelmed. So
Yeah.
overwhelmed. Like, I'm just thinking about a whole year. I'm just excited, but let's just bridge the gap. Let's get everybody together and let's just fellowship and let's just do this thing called life together, y'all. You heard it here in the Ladies Lounge. Darius, thank you so much for rocking
Welcome.
out with your girl. I
Mm.
listen, I love it here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am honored to be your host here in the Ladies Lounge. Until then, you all, please be safe. Um, this is the last weekend June, so I'll see y'all next month. At this point, until then, please stay hydrated. It is hot outside, okay? So please, hydration is key.